In this video, we're going to be breaking down this really cool window box cold frame that was built by a customer of ours. This is built entirely out of 3/4-inch electrical conduit, which you can get off the shelf at places like Lowe's, Home Depot, and different hardware and home improvement stores. And the pieces of conduit are connected together with steel fittings that we manufacture in South Carolina, and we ship those all over the country. And this is a really cool build, and this the first of its kind that we've seen in the community, and just a really cool idea. I love this. I believe it's made so that Stephen can open the window and access the plants that are outside, and it's functioning as a cold frame, and so it's keeping the plants safe inside during the cold winter months, as we can see there. So really cool and just an awesome build, and we'll go ahead and break this down and kind of talk through the design. We'll use this photo here, and I'm going to draw on it and kind of highlight some of the different techniques. And this is really cool. It kind of has a lean-to design where basically the front of the frame is basically a 3/4-inch piece of conduit going all the way down to the ground, and we don't know if there's any kind of reinforcement here at the bottom, but you could get a stake. I like to use those rebar stakes from Lowe's. They work really well, and they fit inside of 3/4-inch EMT conduit nicely, and you just basically hammer those in the ground as far as you want, and then slide the EMT conduit over top of the outside of it, and that really works as a good anchor. Pretty sure that's what was done there. If not, it's a good thing to add if you want to recreate this. But basically going up with those verticals in the front, there aren't any back verticals because this is kind of leaning against the window and resting in the frame. So we can see there are verticals back there. We just kind of can't see them, but they're just in the window box back there. We can see the other one on the other side. But basically, it's just those four verticals. Two of them are going down to the ground. The other two are resting inside of the windowsill there in kind of the box of the windows. And that's really cool. And basically, he's grabbing onto those verticals and sending a pipe to the back using the 90-degree connectors here. So he's using the MakerPipe 90-degree connectors, which allows you to join three pieces of conduit together. You've got the piece that runs continuously through the middle, and then you've got two pieces that come out and terminate in the connector, and that creates this corner connection between those three pieces of conduit, and then that goes all the way to the other side, where we've got another 90-degree connector, and then, of course, the other piece that terminates there. And then, of course, that blue piece of conduit is running through the middle of the connector, and it's just another 90-degree connector there. And we can't see a picture, or we can't see the back of the frame, but if I had to guess, I would say there's another 90 there in each corner, basically just to allow this piece of conduit to run from one side to the other, and then these pieces terminate inside of the connector, basically the same way that we saw up here. It's just kind of mirrored in the back there. That's what I would imagine was done. And then up here, this is a little bit different. Instead of using 90-degree connectors to make this rectangular frame that holds this shelf for the plants, we can see that he's using T connectors from MakerPipe. And this allows you to join two pieces of EMT conduit together. And he's grabbing onto the the vertical piece going from the ground all the way to the top of the build. And then the horizontal piece is grabbing on, inside of that T connector, terminates there and then goes to the back. And then the piece of conduit that's actually supporting the shelf is about halfway down this piece of conduit, and that's another T connector, which is grabbing on, and then there's a piece of conduit terminating in the connector and going all the way to the other side of the shelf. And then there's another T connector, and this whole thing is going to be just mirrored on this other side where you've got the T connector there, the T connector holding the middle support brace for the shelf, and then I believe it's another T connector in the back, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure it's just the same thing mirrored in the back there as well. Just the T connector to grab on and kind of complete this horizontal brace that supports the shelf. And something too that you can do here, or really any build that you're making shelves, if you just customize the dimension of the plywood or whatever it is you're using as the shelf material, you can fit that inside of the two verticals so it rests completely on the outside of the conduit out here. Instead of just relying on that one support that goes from side to side, you can actually rest it on this horizontal bar as well, and that would increase the strength a lot. I believe down here, it's resting on the front horizontal instead of the side, and you can choose basically to customize the dimensions and have it rest on either one, just depending on which one offers the most strength for your specific build. But I think this one is resting on that front horizontal there, and it's just kind of cut down to fit in that as well. And if you're securing shelves to your conduit frames, you can just use the off-the-shelf electrical 1-hole or 2-hole straps. Those are really inexpensive, and you just use a screw to add those and secure flat materials to your conduit frames. Works really well, and I would imagine that was done here to keep these frames or these shelves in place. And here we can look at the very top of the build. This vertical goes up, and there's another T-connector from MakerPipe, and the horizontal piece that is connected is running through the connector and going from one side all the way to the other, and then the vertical pieces are terminating inside of that T-connector, and it's the exact same thing on this other side as well. Terminating there, going up, then the red piece of conduit that we marked is just going all the way through the connector, and that's just the T-connector that joins two pieces of conduit. And then to achieve this kind of slanted roof, he's using a really great design that I think a lot of people kind of forget about, is the fact that you can angle the T-connector on a horizontal bar and achieve different angles. So he's got the T-connector grabbing on there, grabbing onto the red horizontal piece, and then there is a piece of conduit going up to the roof at an angle there, and of course it's just another T-connector grabbing on up there to complete that angle, and it's the same thing 2 more times down here just to grab on and complete these angled pieces of conduit, which allows the rain or any kind of weather like snow to land on this and slide off instead of pulling on top and risking this collapsing or something, which obviously we don't want. So then there's just one more horizontal piece that are the running through the top half of the T-connector, going from one side to the other. And like I said, I'm pretty sure this is just leaning up against the window. It's not actually secured in any way, but you could use more of those one-hole straps that I mentioned for securing the shelves. You could use those same things and secure this to the windowsill if you're not, as long as you're okay with, adding holes like that into your windowsill. That's a good way to secure it. But I'm pretty sure it's just built to kind of be slightly taller in the front, so it kind of has a lean-to design and then rest against the window frame. And as long as you don't get any crazy weather or anything, shouldn't have to worry about that tipping over, especially if you add those anchors in the front that I mentioned. But pretty sure that's what Steven did. That's pretty much the whole frame. And then we've just got some, I think he said 10 mil plastic, sewn 10 mil clear vinyl. And he actually made it so this can roll up here. If we look at this other photo, we can see here it is rolled up. So there's a piece of conduit down here that's kind of, I think it's slid inside. I think he just made a loop with the vinyl. Conduit's just slid in there, so you can roll that up and then access the plants from the front there. And I believe the clear vinyl is just draped over and secured. Don't really see any clamps or anything that are holding that in place, so I'm not sure if you just maybe heated up and shrunk it around the frame. It doesn't look like that. I'm not entirely sure. You could use just those greenhouse plastic clips or those gadget clips, different things that we sell on the website to secure that in place. But it looks like he's got that clear vinyl on the framework there. And then he's just got the flap in the front that can roll up so he can access the plants inside. And I believe also he can open the window from the inside and access the plants from inside the house as well. Really cool build and just a really awesome thing that we haven't really seen before. And I love it. I think it's just really cool and just an awesome use of materials and an awesome idea. So thanks so much, Steven, for sharing this. If you want to see this build, I'll link it down below so you can check it out in more detail. If you have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to leave those down below and I'll answer with any information that I can provide. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like and consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video.